My stepdaughter said, "You're not my real dad and you never will be." So I stopped paying for everything and walked away. Hello, Reddit I plus here. I 42 was married to my wife, Marlene 41, for 10 years. We recently separated, and a big part of that was because of her daughter, my stepdaughter, Ava 17. I met Marlene when Ava was 7. Her dad was already mostly out of the picture. He'd left when Ava was a toddler and barely stayed in touch. He'd call a couple times a year, send the occasional gift that usually showed up weeks late, and visit maybe once every 18 months, if that. From the start, I made it clear I wasn't trying to replace her dad. But I was there if she needed me. I bonded with Ava slowly. It wasn't instant, but it felt genuine. I helped her with homework, taught her to ride her bike, stayed up all night when she had the flu. When she was about 9 or 10, she started calling me Dad, on her own. I never pushed it. But when she said it, I remember smiling so hard I thought my face would crack. I asked Marlene a few years into our marriage if I could adopt Ava. I felt like I had earned the title, and I loved her like she was mine. But her biological father refused to terminate his parental rights. Marlene didn't push the issue, and honestly, I let it go because I didn't want to cause drama. I figured Ava knew who showed up every day. Over the years, I paid for everything. Her school tuition, private school. Marlene wanted better education options, clothes, braces, summer camps, you name it. Marlene went part-time at her job around year 3 of our marriage, and I picked up the financial slack without a second thought. Things changed around the time Ava turned 15. She started pulling away from me. At first, just typical teenage stuff, I assumed. But then she started referring to me by my first name instead of Dad. I brought it up with Marlene, who said it was probably just her age and to give her space. So I did. The space turned into coldness. She'd leave the room when I came in. She'd roll her eyes when I spoke. One day I overheard her telling a friend I was just her mom's husband, and she only called him Dad because he liked it. That one stung, but I kept showing up, kept paying, kept trying. Then came the real blow. About 6 months ago, Ava went to a party with friends. She wasn't supposed to be out late, but she came home at 1:30 in the morning, drunk. I wasn't mad that she drank. I was 17 once, but she drove home. She could have died. Or killed someone. I took away her keys, grounded her, and told her we'd talk more when she sobered up. She screamed at me saying I had no right, that I wasn't her father, that I was just some guy who married her mom. Then she looked me dead in the face and said, "You're not my real dad, and you never will be." I don't know how to describe that moment. It was like something snapped in my chest. All the years I spent trying to be there for her. All the love, the money, the time, the sacrifices. It felt like none of it ever mattered. I didn't say anything. I just walked away. The next morning, I had a long conversation with Marlene. I told her I was done. Done pretending I was something I wasn't wanted to be. Done being disrespected in my own home. Done paying for everything while being treated like a stranger. I didn't do anything rash. I didn't scream or throw things. I just started making changes. I canceled the private school tuition. She could go to the local public school for senior year. I took my name off the car lease, which I had paid for entirely, and returned it. I stopped paying her phone bill. I stopped covering her insurance. Ava came home from school one day to find her car gone and her phone shut off. She flipped, demanded to know what was going on. I looked at her calmly and said, "Ask your real dad." It was like a slap in the face. She screamed, cried, said I was abandoning her. I didn't argue. I just walked away again. Marlene accused me of being petty, said I was taking my hurt out on a teenager. I told her I'd been her father longer than he ever was, and I was done being a doormat for someone who didn't want me in her life, until the money ran out. The fights between Marlene and me got worse after that. I think deep down she knew I was right, but she didn't want to admit she'd let it get this bad. Eventually, I packed my things and moved out. We didn't divorce right away. We tried a brief separation, but it was clear things were over. Now here's the twist. A few weeks ago, Marlene called me out of the blue, said she needed to talk. I agreed to meet her at a diner we used to go to. She looked like hell. Barely slept, mascara smudged, hair tied up with no effort. She got straight to it. Ava had moved in with her biological dad. I was shocked. This man hadn't seen her in years. He sent gifts maybe twice. He didn't call regularly. He never paid a dime in child support. And now, suddenly, Ava was living with him? Marlene broke down crying. Said she felt like an idiot. Apparently, Ava had been talking to her dad on Instagram for over a year, behind both our backs. He'd been feeding her lies, telling her he wanted to be a part of her life again, promised to buy her a car, take her on vacations, even help with college. He told her I was trying to replace him, that I wasn't her real dad, and I was only doing all those things to control her. She believed him. And here's the worst part. Marlene knew they'd been talking. She admitted she saw their messages over a year ago but didn't tell me because she didn't want to cause problems and assumed it wouldn't go anywhere. She thought it was just a phase and didn't think it was worth bringing up. I sat there, stunned. I'd been putting food on the table, paying for everything, getting insulted and rejected, all while the guy who walked out years ago was poisoning her mind behind my back, and the woman I married, who should have had my back, chose silence. It's been 2 months since that conversation. Ava's living with her dad full-time now. He never bought her a car. He's already stopped showing up to things again. She's called Marlene crying a few times, asking if she can move back in. Marlene hasn't said yes yet. As for me, I'm done. I grieved the family I thought I had. I still go to therapy because honestly, it messed me up more than I thought it would. I felt like a ghost in my own life for a while. But I've made peace with one thing. I was a good dad. Even if she didn't see it. Even if she never says thank you. And if being a real dad means being the one who disappears and comes back when it's convenient, then I'm glad I'll never be that. Because I was more of a father in those 10 years than he ever was, and I walked away with my dignity intact.